Hey, what's going on, guys? So the mask mandates are coming back, and a lot of people are not happy about it. And to be honest with you, I completely understand. You had several different colleges all around the country that are literally telling their students, you have to wear a mask or you can't come to class. Like literally, like they're not playing around. Like when you're on campus, you have to wear a mask. You had Morris Brown College, which is an HBCU, historically black college over in Atlanta. You have Rutgers University, and then you had Georgetown University. They are all bringing back the mask mandates, and they're not the only ones. There are several hospitals now that if you want to come into this hospital, you have to wear a mask. They are making people wear masks. And then you've got a gigantic Hollywood studio. I believe it was Lionsgate. Lionsgate is now making all of their writers, actors, directors, staff, whatever. If you want to come into any of their studios to shoot for whatever movie is coming out or whatever, you have to wear a mask. And a lot of people are concerned about this. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I do think that the concern is justified because I think there are a lot of Americans out here that are scarred from the way that the government handled the first pandemic that we had. Well, not the first pandemic because, we had one 100 years ago, but I think a lot of people are just concerned with how COVID was handled. And I think it's very much justified. The government made a lot of mistakes. We were lied to. We saw the government numerous times try to cover their butts. They said certain things. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I will never forget this. When COVID first happened, they actually told us that we were not supposed to wear our masks. Does anybody remember that? I know I can't be the only one. This was in 2020. They originally told us you should not wear a mask. Then they flipped and they said everybody should wear a mask. Now we're in 2023 now, and it turns out that there have been numerous studies, and I did some research on this. There have been numerous studies that came out that basically said that mask mandates did not stop the spread of COVID-19, which, to be honest with you, that doesn't really surprise me. I can't even lie. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all. And, I think that people are overreacting. I think the people that are enforcing these mask mandates are overreacting a little bit because we've had spikes in COVID like numerous times and everything for the most part turn out to be fine. But I think what's happening is you are seeing a spike in COVID. And I saw that the news reported that there's a new variant out too. There's been several new variants. I mean, it feels like every freaking month there's a new variant. And they're basically trying to say that because this new variant is highly contagious and everybody could get it, we want you to mask up, even though studies have already come out and basically said that that doesn't really work. So that's funny, but, they're going to run with what they're going to run with. Besides that, I hope that we don't get another shutdown. That is kind of what people are hinting at. I can't confirm this report, but I saw it on Twitter somewhere that basically they're saying that Biden and the White House are buying COVID-19 equipment, and they are soon going to basically like tell everybody that, well, it's time for you to get your boosters. It's time for you to start masking up again. And now that's causing a little bit of fear and panic because now people are starting to think that, well, wait a minute. Does that mean that they're going to bring the lockdowns back? Are we going to have, COVID-19 pandemic all over again, which again, I can't really blame people because the way that I kind of look at it now is, well, we already went through it. We already know what COVID is. Yes, COVID is dangerous. I'm not saying it's not. Like, I definitely think that it poses a risk, but we know what we're dealing with, okay? This isn't a virus that is going to wipe out humanity. This is a virus that spreads very easy, and if you get it, you're going to get sick. Literally, it's kind of like the flu almost. That's literally what it is. And so I think the reason why people are so against these mask mandates and different things like that is because now that we know what COVID is, although it's serious, people kind of look at it as it's not really as serious as like the flu or it's not like some man-eating virus is, spreading around and killing people. It's literally a virus where you'll lose your sense of taste, you'll lose your sense of smell, you'll have a runny nose. The typical symptoms that you'll have when you have the common cold is pretty much what you will have when you have COVID. And I think that's why everybody's a little worked up about it, especially given the fact of the government just did a really bad job kind of handling it. And I think that's what you had. The other thing that I want to talk about, too, is the vaccine. A lot of people are talking about the fact that the Biden administration is basically going to start telling people that, hey, it's time to get your booster shot again. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to be honest here. One of my personal regrets is getting that vaccine. I'm not going to lie to you. That is actually a regret of mine. And I'm not the only one who feels that way. There are a lot of people out there who kind of regret getting it, but you got to look at it from our perspective. You know, we didn't know what was going on. They told us that if you don't get it, you might die. You might spread it to somebody. They might die. They said that if you don't get the vaccine, they're not going to let you travel. So you literally couldn't travel unless you got the vaccine, which, by the way, they got rid of that mandate. They had that mandate, but like a few months ago, they got rid of it. So now you can travel without having the vaccine. It's funny how that works, isn't it? So, yeah, they kind of got everybody with that. But, yeah, I got to be honest. I definitely regret doing that. I also, before I got the vaccine, I never had COVID. And then as soon as I got the vaccine, the boosters, all of a sudden I got COVID. I'm not blaming it on the vaccine. I'm not saying that the vaccine is the reason. I'm just simply saying that, you know, they basically tell you that the reason why you get the vaccine is so that you don't die. And I mean, I'm pretty young and healthy. Pretty sure I'll be okay. But, you know, maybe that's an ignorant statement. But either way, I just think that the vaccine was also rushed. I definitely don't like the fact that it's supposed to be a vaccine, yet it basically wears off after like 6 months to a year. So then you got to keep on getting boosters and keep getting injected with this thing, which there's actually a really strong argument out here that that's not actually a vaccine that they were giving us. And when you look at the definition and like the process of developing and creating a real vaccine, I think there's strong evidence to suggest that what we took wasn't actually a vaccine. What exactly that was, I don't know. But I could definitely understand why a lot of people are upset and think that that wasn't really a vaccine. In terms of the mask mandates, I think the Biden administration and the government is going to have a really hard time enforcing that because Americans are just fed up with it. Americans didn't like the whole COVID thing in the first place. But I feel like we as a society are just over it. We're completely over it. If it's not a man-eating virus that's just killing people as soon as it touches you, Americans are over it. It's going to be really, really hard to force people to get the vaccine, especially with how much the government screwed up in 2020 during the pandemic. And I blame the government because the way that I see it is they just should have been honest. The problem was the government never wanted to be honest about anything because they always wanted to make sure that they looked like they were right. They looked like they were good. And the sad part about that is there was just several instances where it was just blatant that they were just downright lying or they didn't fully have their facts together. I mean, the CDC has contradicted themselves so many times. A lot of people don't really even trust the CDC anymore because of just how they handled the entire pandemic. And Lord knows you don't even want to get me started with the fact that they literally lied to us and said that, oh, it wasn't created in a laboratory. It didn't come from a laboratory. It didn't come from China. It didn't come from China's laboratory, blah, 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 blah. They said all those different things. And if you said that back then, you were branded as a conspiracy theorist. But now we've had several government agencies, including the FBI, that came out and said that there is very strong evidence. As a matter of fact, they believe wholeheartedly that COVID-19 came from a laboratory in China. So we just put all of that together. I completely understand why many Americans feel the way that they feel. And I just think that we as a country are over COVID. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on the entire thing. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.